guys, you ready for another recipe? We are doing our butternut squash this week. Last week we did the brownies. This one went out second, so you know, gotta do it second. But I did promise to you guys, so here you go. There are a couple different ways that you can make this. You can make this vegan, you can make it vegetarian, or you can make it omnivore and put some animal stuff in it. Now, for purposes of what we're doing here, 90% of this recipe that I'm giving you today is going to be plant-based, completely 100% vegan. I'm adding a little something at the end that is not. So when we get there, if you are vegan or you are vegetarian, feel free to substitute with a plant-based alternative. It still tastes delicious, but for our house, we had it in the fridge, so I'm gonna use it. When we get there, I will show you what it is. It's a fun little tidbit. This is not your normal butternut squash mac and cheese. When I was in California, one of my friends made this mac and cheese and it was full on dairy and it was absolutely freaking amazing. Like out of this world amazing. She had a mac and cheese contest because the guy that she was dating at the time, she and they were having an argument over who made the best mac and cheese. Well, she won, duh. Never do that. Never do that, guys. It never works out. So I took her recipe and have modified it to the dairy-free version, right? Plant-based version, minus one ingredient. So we'll get there, and I'm not going to tell you what it is until we get to the very end. All right, so for this, we need our blender, we need an oven, something to put our mac and cheese in. Now, cheese is, in quotes, I'm not using cheese. We are gonna use the alternative to cheese. So some of you have seen this recipe, some of you haven't. This is the one that I found works best for us. If you have another recipe, you have a link to it, put it in the comments. Those of us that are allergen-free want to know what's up. We want some options, right? All right, so let's get to it. Very first thing that comes into this, our butternut squash. Now, you can get a squash, you can cut it, you can bake it, scoop it out, chop it up, all that stuff. Or you can go the lazy route. I want the lazy route. It took me all day to make this, you guys. All day. I slaved. The oven worked. I worked. It was awful. Not really. Frozen. And all I've done here is I've allowed it to defrost so that once we come in here, it's nice and mushy and ready for pureeing, because that's what's happening, is we are going to end up pureeing all of these ingredients. So these packages are 10 ounces. So effectively, for this recipe, it calls for 2 cups of butternut squash, so you're gonna need 2 packages for it. And as you see, they open fairly easily, especially these ones from Kroger. Just the way that things work. All right, let's put my slaving away. All right, so we got our butternut squash in there. And I love a lot of these organic produce. You can really tell when something is fresh to frozen. The color. Eggs are the same way. You can tell with the eggs as well. All right, so we need some dairy-free milk, which I did not pull out. Give me just one sec. So I know normally, in last week, we had talked about how I make my own oat milk. However, for purposes of this recipe, I'm not using my oat milk because I put vanilla in mine. And I'm not willing to make an entire batch without flavor, just for mac and cheese. So, Planet Oat. I got their unflavored, unsweetened, creamy original. Creamy just means, with oat milk, what creamy means is it means that it's just thicker. Because oat milk, you can go thin, you can go thick, you can go too thick. There's a fine line. At some point, one of these weeks, I'll make you guys oat milk and you'll love it. All right, so, and you'll also find that it's actually not as difficult as you would imagine. Kind of consuming, but you know, If you have a family like ours that everybody drinks it, it makes sense. All right, so 1/4 cup, non-dairy milk, unsweetened, unflavored. Now, if you are able to eat cheese and you would just like more vegetables in your diet, and that's why you're watching this, you're more than welcome to use regular milk. Nothing wrong with it. Now, we need extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of onion, a little bit of garlic. I got my notes here so I don't forget an ingredient, because you chat and then you forget, and then, like we talked about last week, you guys make a recipe and then it turns out like crap and we can't have that. All right, so we also need to put a cup of cashews in. Now here's what this is. It is cashews that I've soaked in water. Typically you only need about 2 to 3 hours of soaking. What I usually do is I'll put it in at night, or I'll put it in the morning if I'm making a dish later in the day where I need it. This is actually 2 cups of cashews, not 1. So we're gonna kind of scoop it out and drain it. They get a little gray, they look kind of funky, to be quite honest. But what you've done is the cashews soak up the moisture. And what I'm finding in here is you're gonna find that these 2 cups actually end up being a little bit more than 2 cups because of the soaking. Cashews love water. They just soak it in. All right, so you put your cashews in there. The cashews are the trick. I've seen this made without the cashews, and I've tried it, and it's just not as good. And that might be just a flavor thing for me, but it wasn't as good, you guys. All right, so now, those are the big guys. We've got pasta over here already made, a secret ingredient. So if you zoom in, you can see what that secret ingredient is. All right, so lemon juice, tablespoon. Again, still haven't found my 1 tablespoon. I'm gonna have to just buy 1. Just suck it up. All right, so we're gonna put 2 of these half tablespoons in there. And keep in mind, a lot of these flavors, it seems weird to put them in, but what you're trying to do is create as similar a flavor to regular, what we are used to, mac and cheese, than just giving you a completely different dish, right? That's ultimately what you're trying to do. So, nutritional yeast, okay? This actually says seasoning. Here's the deal with this. This is everyone's secret weapon in trying to make a dish taste like cheese, is nutritional yeast. You don't need a lot. You really don't. So when you open it, with this recipe, it calls for 4 tablespoons, okay? So, and that's because we have so much butternut squash. So put 8 of these suckers in here. There's 3, and if I do not count, I will not keep track. And those of you who have been in my boot camp know this for a fact. 2 more. All right, so this is basically that cheesy flavor. It turns these nuts into cheese. With a Z, not with an S. All right, now we need a teaspoon of Dijon and a tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. So give me just 1 sec. Totally forgot that we ran out of Dijon and forgot to pull it out. Okay, so we need a teaspoon. All right. Put that in there. And let's get our olive oil, which always sits on our stovetop. And we need a tablespoon of that. Creaminess here, you guys. That's why you put oil in. Do you know that when I make the olive oil, or if you make oat milk, you make oat milk, almond milk, anything like that at home, you put oil in it. You don't put olive oil because that'll change the flavor, but you do put oil in it. It helps create a creamier texture. Additionally, it helps with preservation. All right, so we've got all of those ingredients in. Now the only thing left is a little bit of onion, a little bit of garlic. All right, so we got our big knife. Everyone's scared when I pull out a big knife. You ready? Now when you hit this, I'm gonna show you this, you're gonna hit it on the flat side, not the sharp side. Pay attention to that. Kind of hit it so that what you're doing is breaking it up because you want to peel that skin off. But we're blending everything and pureeing everything, so once you have the skin off, just drop it in. Now, if you would like to make smashed garlic at some point, that's how you make it. You just take the knife and you just smash it. But you have to make sure when you do that, that you are smashing the square side, not the sharp side. Remember that. All right, so you really don't need a lot of onion or a lot of garlic. You take this green part of that white onion and make it go away. And with this, it's onion. Sometimes it doesn't blend up very well. So let's just chop it. For those of you who are chefs, I am working on my knife skills. I promise you that. They are a lot better than they used to be. A lot better. All right, we have everything in our blender. It's gonna get loud in here for just a sec. So let's blend this puppy up and then we'll get going on the next round. All right, we have a Ninja. Vitamixes work well with this, Ninjas, anything that is gonna puree the crap out of this. All right, black your ears if you need it. There we go. All right, we have nice creaminess. Now here's where my little tricks are gonna come in. All right, so I found a recipe online for dairy-free Cool Ranch Doritos. Oh my God. So, made the recipe for the seasoning, not for the ranch, not for the Doritos. Because what we're gonna do is we're gonna add a ranch flavor to our mac and cheese. It tastes amazing, you guys. If you've never tried it, you definitely should. So what I'm gonna do is I will link the recipe down below. The woman's name is Izzy. She runs her website is called She Likes Food. Really great recipes too. She gets really creative with a lot of these. And this happened to have a lot of really positive reviews online. I loved it. So, ranch dressing, dairy-free. Whoosh. We're gonna mix that up just so that it's all blended. We got it in the blender anyway, might as well, right? All right, real quick. All right, let me move this stuff out of the way. We're gonna move that pan in front and make our mac and cheese. Or at least put it into the pan so that we can get it ready for the oven. All right, and that's the next step. So with this, you want everything to soak in flavors. Because of that, you want to bake it. So what I usually do is I'll make, the macaroni early, put some butter on it, which is what I did today. And then we take our glass dish, and I always like to do a deeper Pyrex. It gives you some time or some space really get some flavors in there. All right, so here's our Pyrex. Here is our sauce. Okay, now, before we put it in here, we need to mix up some of the mac and the sauce, right? All right, so let's move these out of the way so that you can see. Okay, I always use a mixer pan. Now this recipe only calls for 8 ounces of pasta, but I found with this that you actually want more pasta. Where I've made two 8-ounce boxes, so we've got 16 ounces of pasta. I'm only gonna pull half into this bowl right now. We'll coat it, see how it does. All right, let's see. Ooh, we have a nice thick sauce, hold up. Yeah, that sucker's nice and thick, all right. Let's do this, let's get our scraper. Now the one thing you'll find is as smooth as you want to get this, Vitamix will actually work a lot better and will puree to the point of soup, right? But you still use nuts. So you're gonna see some crunchiness within it, maybe not too much. It shouldn't taste grainy. That's part of the reason you use the butternut squash, is to avoid the graininess. That's why earlier I told you that, you know, you could totally do this without the cashews, but the flavor is obviously there. You want that flavor profile. And you need the butternut squash with the cashews so that it's creamier. Because if it's just cashews, it's actually not that creamy. And you can strain this as well. So like you could cook the cashews, you can blend the cashews separate, and definitely just strain it just like you would making milk. There's something about having the nuttiness in the recipe for me though, nutritionally. I just prefer it. All right, so nice coating. And you know, I think that's good. Let's get some more of this in here. Maybe we can put some more mac and cheese in here as well. And then we will get to that secret ingredient I told you all about. My oven has been preheating at 350. And we're really just gonna bake this for a good 20 minutes or so, and then we're gonna pull it out and let it sit and just soak up and really just embrace all those flavors. And I'm curious what my husband is gonna think about this, because he's never tried this recipe before. And it's definitely one of those recipes that sometimes it's really great and sometimes you're like, not my thing. So we'll see. He's a mac and cheese fanatic, so you know. All right, so see how that's really wet? We're gonna put a little bit more macaroni in there. I mean, I have a lot, so I might as well, right? All right, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna blend this all in, we're gonna put it in the Pyrex, and then we're gonna bake the sucker, but you know, we still have that secret ingredient. So, let me show you what the secret ingredient is. This is where the vegans can go get your plant-based version. Bacon! I made bacon! Let's get our cutting board back. Get rid of our onions on our cutting board. All right. Now, what we need is a couple pieces for the top, okay? The rest of these lay them flat, chop them up. We are gonna mix them in. So here's the deal with this. The ranch dressing, along with the bacon, you know, that salty kind of tangy flavor, that's what makes her mac and cheese so delicious. Now granted, she uses ranch dressing, not ranch seasoning, but you know, we can't really do that. And I've tried to make this using like a box mac and cheese, right? The dairy-free one, and then put the dairy-free ranch in it. No, just no. All right, turn this around because I get a couple pieces on this side that I'm not real happy with me. They're not helping me out. All right, so we chop it up, right? I'm gonna pull these to the side. Literally, mix it in. There we go. All right. Mix that bacon all the way in. So it's throughout the whole recipe. Flavors get in there. Oh, it's gonna be delicious, you guys. All right. Now I did make a full little 3 package of bacon. It's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, it's in the house. And I thought about doing this recipe, and it's like, I have to make the ranch and bacon version because, I mean, duh, right? All right, so, because my whole premise with any of this stuff is making food that doesn't taste like dirt. So, and bacon makes everything better. It doesn't matter if you're using the eggplant bacon or if you're using like pork fat bacon or turkey bacon. Bacon just makes everything better. There's something about that flavor profile that our tongues love. All right, so let's do this. Flatten it out, make it as even as you possibly can make it. The chances that this will melt, not gonna happen. Now, the reason I say that, because I know there's probably some of you who are like, there's no cheese in it. What are you talking about? It won't melt. Like, that was a dumb statement. I have had people that I've given this recipe to actually ask me if this will melt and overflow. So, there is no dumb questions. If you do not ask a question, and you're still wondering and you don't get your answer, then you're being a little silly. But there's no dumb questions. So now with this, what we're gonna do is we're gonna slice them, right? And you can chop them up, but for me, I'm just gonna slice it, sprinkle them on top, and then pop this puppy into the oven. Come back in about 30 minutes. Sound like plan? All right, sprinkle. I mean, seriously, you guys. This is not gonna be so good that you can't tell it's not dairy, but really? All right, now, one of the things that you wanna make sure of is you wanna try and keep moisture in it, right? That creates that creaminess. It retains that creaminess. So, put a top on it. Whether it comes with the top, whether you put foil on it, I don't care. Put a top on it. Now the last 5-10 minutes, I'm gonna take the top off so that the bacon can get all crispy on the top. That's about it. All right, I will see you guys in about 30 minutes. Okay guys, pulled it out. It looks delicious. It smells delicious. It doesn't smell too bacony. Look at that. It's just like your atypical mac and cheese from the oven. Let's get a fork, because, you know, I love trying this stuff, so let's get a fork. All right. bite without bacon, and then we'll get some bacon in. Yeah. Flavor's absolutely to die for. But do you guys remember, I don't know if your grandma did this, but when my grandma made mac and cheese, it's always kind of that grainy flavor, right? Tastes exactly like this. Exactly. Let's try some with bacon. Definitely taste the ranch in there. That's a good seasoning. Very, very good. Very good. Now, I know there's some recipes out there. You can put cheese in, you can mix it up, make it like Velveeta style. Yeah, I think it's Velveeta. Or craft style, like make it really cheesy. And you can use plant-based shreds, but depending on what you use, it doesn't melt very well. Hence, butternut squash mac and cheese. This is delicious, you guys. I can't wait to hear all about your try with your mac and cheese. Enjoy, y'all. I'll talk to you later.